Welcome to the 1976 Swedish Grand Prix of the Formula One Championship. This was the round 7 at the Scandinavian Raceway in Anderstorp. And what was interesting about this race, it was the first and only win by a 6-wheel car. It was the Tyrrell P34. The Tyrrell P34 was revealed at the Heathrow Hotel in late September 1975. The first time that took to the track was at Silverstone on October the same year, and after more tests, Tyrrell decided to build 2 more examples with a slightly longer wheelbase to race in the 1976 season. Derek Gardner was the man behind the P34's revolutionary concept, and the reason why is because in the mid-70s almost every team on the grid, except Ferrari, was using the same engine. It was the Ford Cosworth engine. They were also using the same Hewland gearbox and the same tires, the Goodyear. So it was very difficult to find an advantage against any other teams. And Derek Gardner mentioned in an interview that he did some calculations and concluded that if a car with 4 small front wheels contained within the width of the bodywork, I could reduce the amount of lift generated by normal front wheels. This was at the Autosport magazine. That in turn would allow me to back off on the front aerodynamics, and the figure I came up with was an equivalent of 40-odd horsepower. So to give you an idea, we can see here the regulations of the FIA in the mid-70s. So we are talking, this design was revealed in 1975. So at that moment, the maximum width of the front wing here was 1.5 meters. So the normal tires would be outside of the width of the wing, creating some drag in there. So that's why the P34 basic concept was to use a tire that would be small enough to fit entirely behind the wing. And this would have 2 effects. One would be to lower the overall drag, as we were mentioning, and thus improve speed on straights. And the other was to clean up overall aerodynamics, so the rear wing would receive a cleaner airflow. This with the space limitations, because you need to fit the driver, the pedals, etc. With a normal tire, it was impossible, and that's why Derek Gardner came with the idea of doing this. This new version with the stretch wheelbase first ran at round number 4 in Spain in the 1976 championship, and it proved very good actually. It was only one car raced. It was Patrick Depailler, who had to retire for some braking issues, but he did qualify for the race 11 places ahead of Jody Scheckter. So the following race in Belgium, actually both of them raced with it, and Depailler had to retire, but Jody Scheckter finished 4th. And the next race was Monte Carlo. They finished 2nd and 3rd behind Niki Lauda. And then was this race in Sweden, where they finished 1-2, and Jody Scheckter got the victory with Depailler in 2nd, and he was the first and in the end was the only victory that this car had. Here we have Patrick Depailler actually doing some testing at the circuit, and actually the first when they unveiled the design in 1975, he had a a tall snorkel, you could say, here at the rear, on top of the engine, that it was very every car actually had it in 1975, the AirTake, but it was the FIA prohibited for the 1976 season. That's why it's really the engine is uncovered in here. 1977, actually they did a more streamlined design, the P34B, and that was the last one. Actually, it only lasted two years, not complete seasons. It was 76 and 77, and after that it was dispatched. They didn't continue with that. Now there were other six-wheelers. The March Engineering, Williams and Ferrari also had six-wheel cars. However, the extra wheels were at the back. So Mark and Williams, actually they had the wheels in a tandem, like one and then the next, but Ferrari actually placed them in here, in the same axle. So very strange. All of them they had testing, but they never raced. They never competed in any Grand Prix. So Tyrrell was the only one, and actually they got a win. Later on, in the I believe the early 80s, was 80 or 81, the FIA determined in the rule book that the maximum number of wheels is 4. So, and it's very unlikely that that's going to change, and so this car is very special for that, because probably we're never going to see another six-wheeler car, and they got the only victory with it. So the reason that the project was abandoned, people say that mostly would be because of the tires. Goodyear was developing the tires, the normal tires, as they always do, all the manufacturers. However, this small 10-inch of 250 millimeters, I think is the right size. Don't quote me on that. They were not developed, so they did the tires for the car, but the following season they didn't. Year and a half or whatever, they didn't do anything about it to improve them, and they were not going to do anything for 1978. So that's why Tyrrell went back to the traditional concept as in all the other cars. Also, the P34B of 1977 was wider and heavier, and all that extra weight put a lot of pressure on the brakes, and they had some braking problems. The 4 discs that they had in that time, and it was all the advantage that the concept was supposed to have was gone. It was not that grip and front handling that they wanted. But anyway, we're gonna continue to the race. Let's see if I can do as well as Jody Scheckter. We're gonna be racing with Jody Scheckter. See if we can get a victory. But just to have a look at the track that is also at the car. So in the real race, in real life, as we mentioned before, Jody Scheckter with the Tyrrell had the pole, followed very closely by Mario Andretti with his Lotus. Third was Chris Amon with the Ensign, and Patrick Depailler was fourth with the second Tyrrell. Niki Lauda with Ferrari was fifth. Gunnar Nilsson, the first Swedish driver, with the second Lotus, almost a second behind. And then was Jacques Lafitte with Ligier. James Hunt, we have here on the screen, he was qualified in 8th with his McLaren. And then Ronnie Peterson with Mark was the second Swedish driver. 10th was Carlos Pace with Brabham, and Clay Regazzoni with the second Ferrari in 11th. Now later in the race, actually it was Mario Andretti who led for a good part of it, but however he was penalized by for a jump start. Took a 60-second penalty, so he was pushing very hard to increase the lead from the Tyrrells, and until his car failed in lap 46, and yeah, he had to retire. And 8 laps before that, it was Chris Simon who had a problem with his suspension and had a crash 8 laps before Mario Andretti retired. So that gave Niki Lauda jump up to third position, and the Ligier with Jacques Lafitte finished fourth, and behind was James Hunt actually, finishing fifth, and rounding up the points, the last point position. Only 6 cars were getting the points. Was Clay Regazzoni that climbed up from 11th to all the way up to 6th. So we're gonna have a race of our own. We're gonna sim this Grand Prix, see if we can do the same as Jody Scheckter did with Tyrrell, and see if we can get a win. So I'll catch up with you guys after the race. that was the race, and you could see at the beginning, starting from the pole position, I actually couldn't see the flagman, the marshal with the flag. He was on top of me with the cockpit view, and I had to repeat the start actually of the race, because suddenly everybody started moving and they crashed me from behind. I said, what the heck is going on? So when I restarted, I just looked at the top with the timer, start to 0, and I saw in the mirrors that people were started racing, so I started moving, and I noticed that he was right on top of me. I couldn't see it. So yeah, there is that. Now I couldn't get exactly the same grid as it 100% as in real life happened. There are a few changes, because it seems a lot of racers, the drivers, change teams between one and another race. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close. It's very close. And I'm gonna leave you now with the different cars. I had to stop it because it's very loud, and if you want to experience the sound of the engines and all that, I want to show you. I had to stop it because otherwise, and I have to record this actually with a screen recorder. I'm using OBS, but it doesn't recognize, for some reason. I can use the NVIDIA Shadowplay, for example, and with OBS also it doesn't recognize as a game the exe of this game. So I have to do a screen recorder. So I have to go out, come back in with Control Alt Delete. It's a little pain, but whatever it takes, right? So yeah, and the real life what we mentioned before, it was the Lotus of oh my goodness, what's his name? Mario Andretti, holy cow! Mario Andretti, who went on to lead the race, but he was penalized, and in the end he was pushing, and his engine broke. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you now with the cars. I hope you enjoy this. If you do like it, let me know if you would like to see something in particular. The next video is gonna be Mexico 1992, that we're gonna be driving with the McLaren of Ayrton Senna as a Mason 23, I think was the name he asked me for that. So I'm gonna work on that next. If you want to see something in particular, hit me on the comments and let me know the year, the driver or car that you want to see, and I'll try to prepare the video for you. But anyway, thank you very much. This was Dario, and I hope to see you soon with the next one. Leave you now with the engines. Mind your ears.